Good morning, friends. This is our day one My Child Has COVID video. We're going to review the antiderivative work that we did last class, and then we're going to look at how to find C. So, remember, let's make a little note here. Antiderivative. I haven't written on this guy in a long time. Antiderivatives. Ooh. We do have a formula for finding an antiderivative of x to the n. Antiderivative of x to the n is going to be x to the n plus 1 divided by n plus 1 plus c. And if you remember, just a quick reminder, an antiderivative, just like it sounds, is going backwards from the derivative to the original function. So, like, if I have, the idea is that if I take the antiderivative of something that was an f prime, that I'll get f of x, but there might be an unknown constant that was there that I don't necessarily know about until I have more information. That's going to be the focus of today's lesson, but before we do that, let's do 3 review problems with finding an antiderivative. So I'm going to give you these 3, and you should try them yourself. So that would be a good, like, pause the video. I gave you all 3 kind of crazy situations. All right, so this would be a good place to pause and try these 3 problems while I sip my coffee, and then you can check your answers. Pausing, pausing, pausing. Okay, if you paused and you've now unpaused, you're ready to check some answers. I'm going to do the first one right here. No, I want to use my fun purple. So this is our most easy, or our most basic example, the antiderivative of 3x. Remember, that's like 3x to the first, so that would become 3x squared divided by 2 plus c. Or, if you prefer the floaty fraction method, something like that. Okay, sometimes we have rewriting responsibilities. Trying to figure out where that, there we go. Oh, what's happening? Oh, no, I'm doing, never mind. Let me do this too. See, look, I'm as awkward on video as I am in person. How cool is that? I'm a little, I don't have COVID symptoms yet, or I have symptoms yet. I haven't had a positive test yet, but I have a little bit of stuff going on. Okay, here's number 2. There we go. The number 2. Key to number 2, you gotta rewrite it. Quotients like this, no good. No bueno. 4x to the negative 2 dx is the key. Exponents in the denominator, you need to write as negative exponents. And then, antiderivative magic. Remember, when you add 1 to negative 2, it becomes negative 1. So that's one answer. Alternate answer, and this is where it gets a little tricky. The 4 would actually be up top because the negative 1 exponent is only on the x, it's not on the 4. So the 4 stays up in the numerator. This guy, fractional or roots, definitely rewrite with fractional exponents. And then we're not afraid. 1/2 plus 1 is 3/2. We're going to kind of memorize that probably because we're going to do that one a lot. 1/2 plus 1 is 3/2 or 1.5. Dividing by 3/2 is like multiplying by 2/3. Whoops, that's a mess. 2/3 times 5x to the 3/2 plus c. So, floaty fraction would be 10/3. Not so floaty, 10x to the 3/2 all divided by 3. Because when we take, make a little note over here, 2/3 times 5/1, that's 10/3. Okay. So these are all the sort of most of the issues that you'd run into on your homework assignment, second page of the note packet. And the little class assignment that you have today, the first few problems are just basically do this, find the basic antiderivative using what we call the backward power rule. Now, let's talk about finding C. In our finding C scenario, we are going to basically usually start with two pieces of information. We will start with a derivative and some additional information about the function, another combination of values. So notice, be really careful when you look at this. This is talking about the derivative. This is the original f of x. This is the part we're going to use to figure out what the c is. So number one, we got to get a basic setup for the original function. We don't know what f of x looks like. We know that f of x's derivative is 4x. And so if I do my antiderivative, my backward power rule, I get that. So f of x looks like that. Now, the only thing standing in the way of me figuring out c in every problem is a very specific piece of information. One specific piece of information about the function, original function, is usually all I need to work backwards to the c. Here's the information I have on this problem, that f of 3 is 7. So that means when I do f of 3, which is going to look like this, the antiderivative with 3 plugged in, that's supposed to equal 7. Well, okay. I can do this, Aunt Sally, a little bit. 18 plus c equals 7. Subtract 18 from both sides. So c is negative 11. So this is the important part. You got to finish it. You can't stop there. C is negative 11. Great. So what was f of x? So f of x is 2x squared minus 11. You should check that. If you take the derivative of that, you get 4x. Sweet. If you plug 3 into that, you get 7, because 3 squared is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. 18 minus 11 is 7. Check. Both parts are true. This is my function. It's an antiderivative step and a substitution step. Now, what can make these complicated? Well, your original function, your antiderivative might have some crazy in it, so then you might have to do some fractions for your substitution or fractional exponents. All those types of things can make it more challenging, but the basic steps are still the same. This is where I'm going to give you a second problem, and you're going to try it yourself. So let's say f prime of x is 3x squared plus 5, and f of negative 2 equals 3. Find f of x. All right, so this is where you would pause and try it yourself. Pausing, pausing, pausing. I know you're just waiting. You should try it though. How are you going to know if you can do it yourself if you don't try it before you watch? Okay, good job everybody who paused. So antiderivative, oops, I'm not going to shortcut this. All right, so antiderivative, 3x cubed over 3. Well, that's fun. Plus 5x plus c. I'm going to clean me up a little bit here. Those 3's divide away. That definitely makes the world easier. So there's my antiderivative. There's my f of x. F of negative 2 equals 3. So negative 2, f of negative 2 means negative 2 here, negative 2 here. Mystery question. And the result of that should be 3. Try your C now. So don't forget the last step. Once you calculate your C, rewrite your function, write your antiderivative with your C, and then double check. 3x squared plus 5. 3x squared plus 5. Cool. Negative 2. Negative 2 cubed is negative 8. Negative 10 is negative 18 plus 21 does give you 3. Okay, you just have 4 of these to do in the assignment you have for today. You can turn the assignment into the sub. You can do it on paper and turn it in, or you can go back to our fun COVID days and turn it into me electronically, which would be fun and nice because then I could see your work now and not have to wait. So either way, hope you have a good day. Be working on your project. That's what we'll talk about on Wednesday. Thanks, guys.